Hi guys, I'm Matt from ACM and I'm a games dev lecturer, and today I'm going to be talking to you about pixel art for creating sprites in games. Alright, so we're going to start out here. What I've done is I have here, I'm just zooming in, this is a 32 by 32 image, okay, that I've just started in Photoshop. So doing everything in Photoshop today, and I chose to do a 32 by 32. Now you can have pixel art in any sizes, really. At the end of the day, pixel art is just all about using about placing different colors on different pixels, and you know, you could do a 16 by 16 bit, you could do a 32 by 32, which is what I'm doing, you could go up to 64 by 64, and then you get to the slightly higher ones, things like you know, 1 to 8, I believe. That's a bit higher, so that's more high, kind of high res pixel art. Typically you would stick to the slightly lower end, you know, under the hundreds at least. 32 by 32 is a pretty classic one, and so is 16 by 16, and it really just depends how much detail you want to get into your art. And so I'm deciding I'm going to use 32 by 32. That's just what I like to use. It's just kind of what my style is. So yeah, we'll go from there. Now I've got a grid here, okay, that's breaking up the pixels, and that's really easy to get on. If you go to view and then go down to show, and you can add the pixel grid there, and that will show you where the pixels are. That's a really useful tool to be able to see, you know, where everything is. So the first thing I'm actually going to do is I've just created a layer down in the bottom right here, you see, and I'm going to get rid of that background. I don't like having my background there. I like to see. No, I don't want to duplicate it. I want to see the you know, that transparent layer, and so the first thing I like to do is create essentially a line drawing. So you know, very similar to you know, traditional art where you might draw something. You'd often do a line drawing kind of sketch first, and then you might go over it again in something else. So I'm actually going to do exactly that, and I'm going to choose a very obscure color to do this. I'm just going to go with kind of like a light blue. And you'll see why I do that in a little bit. So what we actually want to use is the pencil tool. Okay, so the pencil tool, there's two tools that you typically end up use in Photoshop to kind of paint with. You know, one of them is the brush tool, but the problem is with the brush tool, even if you have it, you know, at 1 pixel and hardness 10, you can see that it feathers the edges of those of the lines that you create, which is really not good for pixel art, because we want hard, nice, clean edges. We don't want any transparency. We want to be able to select exactly what we're doing. So we want to use the pencil tool, and the pencil tool is so much better for this because you can actually place pixels on individual pixels. Okay, very simple. So that's what we're going to do. So we're just going to create a very simple sprite of a character. I'm going to kind of make it up as I go along a little bit. I don't have any ideas in mind, but you know, we'll see how we go. You know, often you can be using references. There's a lot of people say, you know, you're cheating if you use references and things like that. Absolutely not. Use references. Find references online. You know, have an idea of the kind of character that you want to make or objects that you want to make. Use references. You want to use, and the more references you have, the more you're able to be kind of creative and pull ideas from different references and kind of put that together into one. So but I'm not doing that. I'm going to go completely off cuff here, and we're just going to try and see what we can come up with. So I'm actually going to just sketch first, kind of with the pixels, and then I'm going to go back over it to you know, how I like. So what I'm actually going to do, I'm thinking more like almost a almost Pokemon type esque face here. So I've gonna have a nice big. So what I've done here is I've just got, this is where I'm thinking the kind of hat or hair is going to go. Then we're going to have the face here, and then I'm going to have kind of essentially quite a fairly short body. I'm going to move this up a little bit because it's definitely way too low in the frame. And yeah, as I say, I'm really am just kind of sketching out, you know, where I think things are going to go. So that's kind of the shoes, this kind of body here. I'm not worrying too much. Let's do that there and that there. That's kind of the arms. And you know, you can go about this maybe like that, something like that. Maybe this, that seems about right. Yeah, that's essentially a human, a fairly human shape, kind of chibi, slightly chibi style, but that's absolutely fine. So I've got my main rough outline. You know, I'm not worried about where the pixels actually are on this at the moment. I'm just getting a rough shape, a rough idea of what I want to do. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to create a new layer. So I've now got 2 layers. Okay, so this is, and I'm going to rename this. So this is my sketch. Okay, and I'm just going to lower that opacity of that sketch down a little bit, just so it's slightly hidden from view, but still back there, so I can you know, focus. So this time I tend to outline in black. I just use black to start off my outlines, and in the colouring process, which we'll see a little bit later, that's going to be something that we'll use to kind of we'll enhance it and stuff as we go. So what we'll do, we'll start actually outlining then. So I'm going to now really think about what pixels I want to essentially be the outline. So if I'm thinking this is 30 by 32, so this 16 here, 16, this is essentially my middle line, right down the middle here. So I'm going to start thinking, right, that's my middle, that's my middle. Or for the cap, maybe that's my middle. And now essentially you can start kind of counting the pixels slightly, just to, so I'm going to go out maybe 3 on each side, 2 there, and you essentially kind of step up the and sort of create this little step to start, you know, creating sort of rounded edges a little bit, like that. So that's essentially a nice rounded edge. Yeah, when you zoom out of it, you know, it does look like it's a rounded, nice rounded shape. So another thing we can do actually while we have this here is if you go into Window, go into Arrange, and then down at the bottom here it says New Window for Untitled 1. This is Untitled 1. This is what we're using. We haven't saved anything yet, which we probably should do, but that's fine. So we're going to create a new window for it, and essentially we now have 2 windows. And if we drag that out, we can kind of zoom in. Now what we have, and we can place it there, we have, you know, an overview of what our image is. So we can really zoom into this now and not have to worry too much about, you know, just keep zooming in and out. But we now have that little overview there, which is really useful. So I'm just going to come in here, and you know, it's really just about feeling, you know, seeing what it feels like and experimenting with it a little bit. So I might actually just send that down that way. 2 really useful shortcuts. B brings up the brush, or in this case the pencil tool, because the pencil tool is the one that's active. Yeah, it would be the brush if the brush was active, but the pencil tool. And E brings up the eraser tool, which again I've already got it set to size 1, so I can switch between the 2 just by using the keyboard shortcuts. Really useful. So let's see here. I think I might do that and that. I'm just going to keep it fairly equal either side. It's a bit too blocky for me. Maybe that. Oh, and there. That's a little bit better. Yeah, we'll go with that. And what? Let's have a kind of front of a cap here, maybe. Kind of almost like that. That might work. We'll see. It's things start looking better when you start adding shading to it as well. We'll see how we go. We might change that. So let's see the side of the body then. Let's start here. Maybe like that. I quite like that. That's looking quite good. Yep, I like that a lot. And to be honest, the feet, this foot already looked pretty good to me. I'm just gonna, yeah, do that. So I'm cutting off that corner there, just making it a little bit more, I don't know, shapely? It's not a very good word, is it? Shapely. No, and also I want to do it there. Oh, not that, that. Yeah, there we go. I like that. And arms. So arms, actually that here is pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good. Maybe I'll just do something like that. And it's just about trying it and seeing what looks good. There, down there. There's no right answer in pixel art, that's the thing. It can look however you want it, and as long as you kind of as long as you're consistent with the proportions, which that seems consistent to me. You know, you've got the feet and the arms are kind of, or where the hands would be potentially, like maybe there. You know, that seems fairly consistent. But with the big head, with the chibi head, the slightly kind of rounder body, I think that works quite well. So at this point, you know, we'd start thinking, right, let's start adding some more details here. So maybe we'll have some trousers and maybe like a top of some sort. What shall we could do something like that, and maybe he's got 2 buttons on that side. I like that. Yeah, that works. I'm going to give him like a nice short little mouth. There's not. Remember, this is 32 by 32, so there's actually not much space to add in the details. But you can add in some very simple details just to kind of get that, get the feel of a face. So you know, that short mouth there, that works really well. But what we can't put in here is kind of that, is the nose, because that just isn't going to work. Because you know, you'd have something like that. There's not many pixels there, so you don't really have the space to add that in. But actually, in pixel art, when things are, you know, this small, that's absolutely fine. There's not a problem with that. So I'm going to add in some eyes, definitely, because eyes are definitely needed. And I'm not necessarily going to keep these all black. I'm going to go in and I'll adjust these as we go through. But to be honest, if I turn off my sketch now, I quite like that. I like that a lot.